his work. So this essay with the concept of gravity. As we were talking about it today, big tech giants possess immense gravitational pull with the design of their digital infrastructure. Attracting users and their content through the monopolistic power. So massive monopolies and conglomerates such as Google and Facebook has enormous black holes with their influence, with their gravity, create a field so intense that it attracts and swallows the content and the users at the same time. And those are social media forces. Social factors implicated in the gravitational mechanism of the internet. So the social isolation and fear of missing out, economic and professional insecurities and influence of addiction, depression and anxiety actually show that new media vectors as a social forces contribute to the gravitational force of the platforms. Why? Because of the fear of missing out. So as you ask, how to explain this to kids? Not to be on the platform. But when the gravitational force of this environment is such a immense, hard, strong. The second would be economic and professional insecurity. As we talked today, maybe I have a privilege to say, I don't want to use it. But most of the people are expected to have on their work social account or to promote the content on a social account or to have one. So it's an existential trap, let's say. Of course, this accelerated infrastructure constantly poses unrealistic expectations of efficiency and productivity. So we are in constant struggle to want attention of the users by what we are doing. Even now, we are streaming even our sessions, expecting users to being attracted with our content that we are actually producing in real time. It became like a new normal way of doing things. And we already spoke about the Taylor addictions, depression, and anxieties that people feel all around the globe. And it's all about the reputation economy systems that encompass all this narrative. So as Martin Nussbaum puts it, the social cost of opting out has become so high that opting out is essentially a fantasy. So with this black hole metaphor, black box nature and algorithms that we were talking about, they are metaphor for invisible walls of algorithmic factory. So endeavor to swim against the tide of gravitational forces, the social economic costs associated with the living, it became overwhelmingly burdensome. Regardless of one's swimming ability, the pull of the black hole remains inescapable. So the event horizon defines the line after which the social and economic price of leaving those platforms is becoming too high. So the allegory of the cave refers to the Plato's allegory of the cave, which illustrates how individuals spend their lives enclosed within the cave walls. And we all probably know this story. So the shadow performance is forged by the algorithmic machines that regulate, filter, censor, and moderate the project content upon the cave walls. The script and directing of these online platform performances of shadow are entrusted to human algorithmic machines, which regulate, filter, censor, and moderate the projected content on the walls of the cave. So the cave and the horizon of events create information flow, constant information flow in the theater of shadows. And we saw how it actually looks like. We are standing or sitting in front of the interface, not seeing the shadows that are actually projected on the walls of our prison algorithmic cells, let's say. So it's a really nice play on words that he has, Platopticon. Instead of single play, so it's not a single play. Every one of us has its own tailor-made performance. So it is a multitude of simultaneous and different performances. The gravity of these techno-giants hold billions of user, workers, products at the bottom of those caves. Each user detained in their own cave is exposed to a design play adapted only to them. So this constant flow of spectacle, constant flow of information projected through the interface creates a digital shadow on the opposite wall of the cave. And this is what I also like to talk about, the forced digital labor. We are the digital laborers in 21st century in an algorithmic factory that actually captures the performance of immaterial and rarely paid labor that we name as scrolling, liking, sharing, commenting, or creating the content. So that's how we witness of numerous freelancers, self-employed or unemployed, on all those gray areas in between that now constitute the world of labor, need to spend more and more hours maintaining their profiles. So even if you are influencer, you constantly have to work to put new content, to put more content, to gather more likes. So if not, you are out of the game. And that's what children or youngsters imitate. They want to be self-employed, freelancers, influencers. So that's how we came up with that, and we are witnessing that at our university. There is less and less students. They don't want to dedicate themselves anymore to studies of 3 or 5 years of their lives when they have idea that they can be self-employed. They have this, these are tools of production.
They want to be
YouTubers, and so we all know, see how it actually turned out. So we talked about the interfaces and self-centered personal civic algorithmic machines and data bank that gathers all that big data. So we all know about the data centers, server farms all around the globe that are now actually gathering and storing the huge amount of big data for filtering, regulating, censoring, classifying, indexing. And so the data extractivism that we talk about creates finally of us, not individuals, but individuals,
yeah.
which are statistical portraits of our data bodies. Our online behavior is captured, processed, and deconstructed into statistical vectors, clusters, patterns, and anomalies. And McKinsey work calls it vulture industries or vectoralist class. Ending up in multidimensional portraits of individual beings, and those algorithms are like instruments, like, let me make it a comparison to the microscope. Microscope enabled us to see what is invisible in our physical environment. So the algorithm, like a microscope, made visible, it's visible to algorithm what is invisible to the human in the digital realm. So those filters are instruments of extraction and control. Instruments of measurement and perception, to be more precise. So collected content and extracted data became a permanent corporate resource for creating multidimensional dynamic complex topologies in which every piece of data becomes an object that is contextually linked to other objects. So all our behavior, all our digital traces, creating a pattern by algorithms, so that's how we are so predictable. Because owners of those machines, of corporate machines, are actually able to see the patterns in our behaviors. And of course, the anomalies. So whenever an anomaly is shown, it's easy somehow to reject it or eliminate it. That's how I go back to the Adrian's uniformity. Patterns of uniformity. So, when we speak about AI, of course, machine learning system, neural networks, they use the capacity of these engines, of these machines, to deeper and deeper invade our behavioral, emotional, and cognitive landscapes. Because whenever we are in contact with the interfaces, with social media, we are projecting or leaving traces of our behavior, of our emotions, of our expectations, of our intentions, of our thoughts. So that's why it's so clearly connected to the new colonialism. We are the new territories invaded for the processes of enclosure and exploitation to be established. Vladan has been collaborating with numerous scholars around the globe. One of them is Italian scholar Matteo Pasquinelli. And they also, but whenever he does his narratives about these things, he draws another map. So if you are interested, it's all accessible through the internet, of course. So in the new scope manifested, Vladan Jorer and Matteo Pasquinelli explained that what neural networks computes is not an exact pattern, but the statistical distribution of a pattern. So it's an algorithmical statistical model. So it's a process of compressing the world, the whole world, into the statistical model. So it would be good to reformulate the questions once posed by Alan Turing. Can a machine think? Into the theoretically sounder questions, can statistical model think? Can statistical model develop consciousness? Because we think that AI is going to develop the consciousness, but the neural networks and machine learnings are actually statistical models of prediction. Predictive algorithms, like LLMs, the large language models are named stochastic parrots. So this monopolization of digital sphere shows us continuity of capitalism, affinity to infinity. Technoscience and capitalism push boundaries towards the potentially infinite horizon. In the transition to the information age, capitalism was given a chance to satisfy its affinity for infinity, to form and conquer an infinite number of new territories, to create new mechanisms for the accumulation of capital within these new spaces, and to formulate new forms of exploitation. So we all should be asking, or probably ask ourselves, what's beyond the capture? Is there anything that could escape these processes of capturing? Is there any word or meaning that is not captured by this gigantic metastructure and the millions of synthetic spiders and sensors recording multiple aspects of reality? So that's a hard question that I can't answer. And what is also usually missed to be understood when we speak about it is this ghost work. What is ghost works? Humans are doing the hard work behind the scenes to make AI system appear autonomous. Artificial intelligence depends on human labor to conduct tasks such as data cleaning, coding, and classifying content. And it's called data labeling. So it's on-demand work offered and performed online, paid by a task. On platforms like Amazon, Mechanical Turk is paid less than $2 per hour. And all around the world, especially in third world countries, people are employed to be ghost workers, to data label the models and systems for them to appear as functioning autonomously. So this rapidly growing platform-based work that is largely unseen, workers are unable to speak with managers, don't get the feedback, and lack labor protection. And it's really well demonstrated and written in the book by Mary Gray and Siddharth Suri a couple of years ago. So behind the AI boom is the human cost of AI also. So we can make a comparison with the data labeling with the digital sweatshops, naming them as a digital sweatshop. So the global data collection and labeling market size was valued at $3 billion, almost $4 billion last year. And not to give you impression that only Crawford and Yoller speaks about this, Nick Cowdery and Ulysses Mejas proposed the concept of data colonialism, understood as the extension of global extraction processes. Owning the data has become the foundation for governing today's technological colonies. In the year of 2022, there were approximately more than 7 million data centers and server farms around the globe. Karen Howe says that AI is creating a new colonial world order. It is not possible to talk about AI for everyone, which is the Google's rhetoric, responsible AI, which is Facebook Meta's rhetoric, or broadly disturbing its benefits, which is the open AI rhetoric, without honestly acknowledging and confronting the obstacles in the way. There is no data ethics inside the wrong system, the capitalist data regime or data colonialism. And why I'm stressing this out, because lately we hear about the AI ethics, ethical AI, but to be honest, with this political and economic program, there is no ethical way to confront it. And that's why I have this quotation from Anatomy of AI from Kate Crawford. She says, she wrote, "To understand what is at stake, we must focus less on ethics and more on power." That's why I said the AI is a register of power. AI is invariably designed to amplify and reproduce the forms of power it has been deployed to optimize. Countering that requires centering the interest of the communities most affected. Instead of glorifying company founders, venture capitalists, and technical visionaries, we should begin with the lived experiences of those who are disempowered, discriminated against, and harmed by AI systems. When someone says AI ethics, we should assess the labor condition for miners, contractors, and crowd workers. When we hear optimization, we should ask if these are the tools for the inhuman treatment of immigrants. When there is applause for large-scale automation, we should remember the resulting carbon footprint at the time when the planet is already under extreme stress. And tomorrow I'm going to talk a bit about sustainability and the digital technology. So we also hear that AI is hallucinating, producing wrong, not factual content. But as Naomi Klein wrote in Guardian 2 years ago, the tech CEOs are kidding themselves since they want us to believe that generative AI will benefit humanity. So I quote, generative AI will, they say, tech CEOs, that generative AI will end the poverty, they tell us. It will cure all diseases. It will solve climate change. It will make our jobs more meaningful and exciting. It will unleash lives of leisure and contemplation, helping us reclaim the humanity we have lost to late capitalist mechanization. It will end loneliness. It will make our governments rational and responsive. These, Naomi Klein says, I fear, are the real AI hallucinations. And we have all been hearing them on the loop ever since ChatGPT launched at the end of the last year. So, I'm afraid that we have not only lost awareness about these things, awareness of materiality of these processes, but capacity for imagination. And that's what makes us human. And for the end, I'll just mention that in the book of Matteo Pasquinelli, The Eye of the Master, The Social History of Artificial Intelligence, he explains and he challenges the myths about the artificial intelligence, arguing that AI is not a quest to imitate biological intelligence. And I should say that we should stop somehow asking or posing a question, will AI gain the consciousness? Because it's completely wrong question. But to see that AI imitates or mimic continuation of the automation of labor and social relations. And that's what we miss when we speak about AI. To see that AI is actually built on mirroring the processes of automation of labor and social relations. AI is the ultimate combination of previous processes of data collection and labor management from below, rather than the invention of new powerful algorithms from above. Algorithmic management is not an invention. It's rather gradual automation of previous techniques to control and organize the workforce. So AI does not simply replace workers, but displaces and restructures them into the new social order. And that's, I'm afraid, what's actually happening right now in the world. So I will conclude with the other colleague of mine, the Petar Jandrić, who is that I mentioned. He's the editor of Post-Digital Science Education, Springer's journal, and he talks about post-digital. And I don't have now intention to speak about post-digitality, but concepts of post-digital for me are very interesting. It combines biological and informational. It's messy, hard to define, but it encompasses all these aspects and not separating them, but combines them all together. And post-digital needs to be understood as the process of demystification and refusal. It is a state of sobering, distancing from the global digital networking hype embedded in platform nihilism, as was put it by Loving and Rossiter in 2018. So the resisting the language of the new media disruption, ethical imperative to question the idea of digital progress is something that I want you to leave the room today, that we have to constantly question this idea of digital progress and to see somehow the dark enlightenment concept behind it. And that the crucial importance of creating a social situations for which AI would not be able to produce answers and solutions. And as I begin this morning with the T.S. Eliot, I'm going to finish with his sentence that humankind cannot bear very much reality, and that's maybe the answer why these things and these topics are not on the forefront of our discussions, of our syllabi, our programs and study programs. So thank you very much for your patience and attention and interest, and for inviting me and giving me opportunity actually to speak in English about these things, because I don't have so much opportunities to lecture in English, but I hope I succeed in transmitting the message. So thanks again. Mulțumesc.
Hvala. Hvala. Mm-hmm. Well, breathtaking information actually for me. This is one of the most interesting conferences that I ever participated, and it's interesting that I usually participate to theological conferences, and there are another kind of revelations and discoveries, but this kind of lectures have to do with my finger, where I will be more careful where I put my finger, what app I will use, and I will approve. Yes, very insightful and a little bit, I don't know, there is only a thin cum se spune graniță, hotar, border between this kind of presenting things and realizing and spirituality. In Adventist theology, we have an old view that we call the great battle, the great controversy between Christ and Satan, between good and evil. So from the Bible, and especially from the books of Daniel and Apocalypse, Revelation, we discover that behind what we see and what we catch, there are forces that tries to influence us. So God comes with love and with self-sacrifice, and tell us to love each other and to respect each other. And Satan comes with manipulation, deception, and force in order to determine us to do something. So you actually have spoken in our language of Adventists about that something is happening or happens behind, something dark, something that we should be aware. Scientific, which is something that is the idea, something. This is the distinction, because these are not religious but scientific ideas, but they have the same fashion and share the same language as Revelation and Bible. So I used to say, as Raul used to say, that nothing is. Raul, was that the word you said? Nothing is random. Nothing is nothing is întâmplător. Yeah. All is providence. This is the opposite. All is providence. Nothing is a random happening. Yeah. Do you have comments and? Maybe you will stay here in order to be.
Yeah, but we can
filmed. To be yes.
I study computer sciences, and what you have said is.
So you are a big data infiltrate.
Yes, I teach students data data mining, and so I understand most of what you have said, and it's really important that while we are still very positive of new technologies, we should understand the great threats it can give to our lives, and understand it. It's very important. Right now we are on the librarians conference, and probably this general information about artificial intelligence is more important for those who are not librarians. So the question is, what can we get as librarians from this? First of all, I thought that when you said that big techno giants prepared this, and there is like point of no return, I believe that this kind of point of no return is because, well, first of all, getting all this data is pretty expensive. Generating models, processing all this data, huge amounts of data, is very expensive, and it is quite normal that only several companies maybe may afford such a thing. So we are not on the level of big companies, and we will not probably prepare our own large language models, and probably we do not need to do that. We just need to understand that there is some bias in it. But what they actually did, and what we can do, is that they prepared a product so simple and useful that people get used to it. So the question is, what we as librarians could do, what kind of product in our current situation, in order to have some kind of product that people will see in such a manner as they see artificial intelligence or something like that. Very useful, that solves their questions, and could we do it by ourselves, or do we need to combine our forces in order to do that?
Thanks for your comment. I totally agree, and you finish with combining, strengthening the alliances and forces would be something without, which is indispensable. I mean, librarians can't fight these wars. I mean, it would be really naive to say that, but I don't expect librarians to be revolutionaries in terms of overthrowing these agendas. But I think that librarians are, as they used to be throughout the time, the people of the book. So they teach, they inform, they explain, they and that's why I'm so stick to the concept of information and media literacy. That because librarians should be held accountable for the information and media literate society, let's say. Because we know that libraries were always temple of knowledge, temple of learnings, etc. So I'm afraid that without this approach from librarians, which is social and humanistic, we will end up believing that the hard sciences are the most precious scientific knowledge that we have, and that with scientific tools that come out from hard sciences are those that should dominate all the discourses and all the practices and what's happening on the globe. So I know maybe I sound a little bit also naive when I speak from the librarian point of view about these topics, but I think that also that library and information science somehow is making us all responsible professionally, because we are working with data, information, and knowledge, and organizing and management of data, information, and knowledge, to explain further the processes beyond the superficial application on our usage of the tools and I don't know, machines. Yeah. So that would be my answer. So.
Okay, one more question is that when we are when I saw that diagram of schema, diagram, it's fine. Okay, I saw an idea that you have mentioned that each, let's say, user is at the same time not only user, but is a producer. And one of the reasons for such products to have efficiency is because people do not feel themselves as products. They feel that they use some platform and participate and get some benefits from it. So they see more benefits than they see or they feel that they are used. Therefore, it makes some, let's say, connection between providers and users that generate content. Each one has their own copyright for their content, and this is strictly written. And what I think is, if they used such a model to use data and provide some services, maybe we as librarians can think of something that will both help us and users as well. Maybe there are some kind of services that we won't be able to manage without user, let's say, feedback. And the more feedback the better. But at the same time, there is users will see something that they really need. What do you think about this?
I like your idea. I mean, because the librarianship is mainly public profession. It serves public. So if we would make the AI public or publicly owned, it would be like we users are also the part of the share, part of the process. So it would be fair, I would say, because in this concept, in this relation where we can't hold accountable the big companies and private corporations, I would not trust them as much as we globally do in our everyday lives. So I agree totally that, and it's also why it's important that users are aware of these things. Yeah.
I think you are going to expand on it tomorrow, but I, like you, also am aware of our insignificance in this situation. We cannot dare to be a challenge to them, but perhaps we might offer a way of escape, because at the end of your presentation you also quoted like that maybe humans cannot handle much reality or something like that. Is it perhaps our solution, or maybe the justification of our profession, the continuation of our profession, that we somehow manage to have people abandon the black boxes for a little while with some alternatives like relational, social interactions? Maybe that's our hope or solution, that we stay and invest and keep believing in classical librarianship, keep believing in the physical book as an alternative to the electronic digital world.
Hopefully, because somehow, even before being professionalized, libraries and librarians are one of the oldest concepts and institutions that survived throughout the time. So hopefully it will be even at this at this point of time. Because the librarian identity, from my point of view, is very broad in terms of, it's not formalized to what institution perceives that librarians should be. I mean, that the idea of librarian is much broader, and so that's how I take it, and that's how I teach it also through in the context of information science. So I think that we should also that we as librarians should be more there to speak about technology and about the code, about the software, about algorithms, about the machines, and not only about the books. I mean, the content, information, but not to be afraid to confront the hard sciences, to confront the engineers, to confront those who are actually at the forefront of the mainstream positions in society.
From what I have heard, I believe that for users to have some simple place to search for information, at least to search for information, a person should have just a small search box that will connect him to a lot of different resources. And as you mentioned, there are different kinds of algorithms, and if we own the algorithm, it's not just some AI that will filter something that we actually need, but just a search engine. It brings two questions. First, we need enough metadata, and our libraries should provide enough metadata. And second, it is, I believe, better to have one common search box for a whole alliance of libraries. Like if we are in ASDAL conference, if we will have just some site that will have access possible to search in any library of the alliance and to get books from any library, it could be this value that is very important when we are speaking about our alliance, and value for users, because they do not need to search each catalog individually, with their own interfaces, without some specific ideas, just one box, one site, and ability to share and to get information. In order for that, we need to maybe sign some papers that will allow each of libraries to share, like interlibrary loan to other persons, or maybe some, well, this way to bring values to each patron in whenever they are. I believe this is one of the things really important from that we can bring from our conference and from the examples of big corporations.
So today's fruitful lectures ends here. Thank you to all of you, and especially to Professor Mario Hibert. We will meet again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. When we will have, as today we had, worship time led by Laurențiu Moț, the rector of the Adventist University. Then fourth lecture of our key speaker, Mario Hibert, Professor Mario Hibert. After him, I am prepared to deliver my small presentation, but I am open, and I encourage you to be same open. If we consider otherwise, we decide otherwise. If we want to exploit, to use new extractiveness and to extract data from Mario, we can use because he learned us. He taught us about how it works. So and then the workshops and seminars and presentations of the conference will be closing with a business meeting of librarians, and this is Raul first role. You will lead us to decide where the next conference may be and some conclusion. So this will be tomorrow morning before the lunch. Thank you very much.